welcome to Veteach. In this video, we'll discuss about some multiple choice questions. The first question is, what will be the output of the following code statements? There are three integer variables declared. A is equal to 50, B is equal to 25 and C equal to 5. And they were asked to evaluate an expression A star B by C plus C. So here, according to operator precedence, star gets evaluated first and then slash gets evaluated next, and then according to the precedence plus will have the next importance. So what happens here is, by substituting the values 50 star 25 by 5 plus 5. So the first 50 star 25 gets calculated first, and then the result of this will be divided by 5, and then the result will be divided by 5. So this is how the expression is going to be evaluated, and the answer will be 255. And the next question is, what will the output of following code statements? In this also we have three integer variables initialized. A is equal to 10, B equal to 35, C is equal to 5. Print A star B by C minus C. So here also, according to operator precedence, A star B gets evaluated first, and then by C gets evaluated next, and then minus C will be subtracted. Let's substitute the values. 10 star 35 by 5 minus 5. 10 star 35 is 350. 350 by 5 minus 5. 350 by 5 is 70 minus 5, that is 65 will be your answer. So generally we have to remember here operator precedence to evaluate this expression. Otherwise we will have some problems. Again, we have three integer variables initialized. A equal to 10, B equal to 35, C is equal to 5. This is the other way of the question that was asked. Comment upon the outputs of the two statements. Here two statements were given as that for evaluation, and they were asked to comment upon that. What are your comments? The expressions are A star B plus C by B, and then print C by B plus A star B. Let's evaluate by substituting the values for all two expressions. A star B 10 star 35 plus 5 by 35. This is equivalent to 45. 350 as the answer, because 5 by 35 will be 0 and 10 star 35 is 350. And then substitute the second values. C by B is 5 by 35 plus 10 star 35. So the result will be 350. So in this case we can conclude that the answer for both the expressions are same. Next, the other way is, int A is equal to 40, B equal to 35, C equal to 20, D equal to 10. Four variables were initialized here, and then they were asked to comment upon this. What is the comment for this? Print A star B by C minus D, and then print A star B by C minus D. So according to the operator precedence, parentheses have more importance when compared even with star and division. So in the first case, what happens is, if I substitute the values 40 star 35 by C is 20 minus 10. 40 star 35 gets evaluated, where it is 1400 by 20 minus 10. 1400 by 20 will be equivalent to 70 minus 10, that is 60. When we consider the second case, that is A star B 40 star 35 divided by C minus D 20 minus 10. So here what happens is 20 minus 10 will be evaluated first, because according to Bodmer's rule, brackets will have more importance. So 40 star 35 divided by 10. So 40 star 35 is 1400 divided by 10, which is equivalent to 140. So if you observe, the difference is 80. So if you observe the answers here that were given, the first option given is differ by 80. The second option is same, differ by 50, differ by 160. So the answer will be differ by 80. So the difference between these two equations results is 80. One more expression here. Int A is equal to 60, B equal to 35, C equal to minus 30. So here we are asked to evaluate logical operators as well as bitwise operators, that is about your relational operators. What will the output of the following two statements? A star, A greater than 45, 60 greater than 45, or 35 greater than 50 and C greater than, that is minus 30 greater than 10. So 60 greater than 45. So what is 60 greater than 45 is true, or 35 greater than 50 is false, and 30 less than minus 30 less than greater than 10 is false. False and false is false. True or false is true. So that's why the answer will be 1 for the first expression. When we consider the second expression, what happens is A greater than B, that is 60 greater than 45, or B is 35 greater than 50. For this entire expression, C greater than 10 value will be added and then AND operation will be done here. Minus 30 greater than 10. So the answer for this will be true, and minus 30 greater than 10 is false. True and false will be 0. So that's why if you observe the options here, 0 and 1, no error, the program is correct. 1 and 1, 0 and 0, and the last option is 1 and 0. The expression result of first equation is 1 and the second one is 0. So that's why the options will be 1 and 0. Now this is the other way of asking your program. The other way is they will give some set of instructions for writing a program, and they will miss some instructions, and they will ask you what instruction can be written in place of that missing statement. Is one way of asking in TCS. Let's see that. Shashi wants to make a program to print the sum of first 10 multiples of 5. She writes a following program where statement 5 is missing. Means, what is the meaning of this is, Shashi want to write a program for printing multiples of 5 for first 10 multiples. Means 5 into 1 to 5 into 10 has to be calculated. So while writing the program, there was a statement missing. Now what we need to do is, we need to identify which statement is suitable for writing that missing statement. Integer I is equal to 0, and then integer sum is equal to 0, while I less than or is equal to 50, and then sum is equal to sum plus I. So generally the logic for writing this program will be, we need to start from first number and then we have to go until the multiple reaches to 50. So here sum is equal to sum plus I. We are finding the sum of all the numbers, or which are all the multiples, and the missing statement is 5. So what is the suitable statement that can be written here is, the multiples of 5 will be deferred with 5 every time. If I just write I is equal to I plus 1, we are going to get the numbers from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on until 50. But here, according to the question that was asked, they are asking us to find the sum of first 10 multiples of 5. Each and every number has to be deferred with 5. So I is equal to 5 means we are going to add only 5 every time. If I add 5 every time, we are not going to get 50 for any case. Next, I is equal to 5 star I is not also a suitable statement. 5 star I is going to multiply I with 5 every time. It's not going to the case. I is equal to I plus 1 will add 1 to I every time. But the last statement I is equal to I plus 5 is going to add 5 to the I every time. If we substitute this I is equal to I plus 5 here, we can get the answer. You can check it. I is equal to 0. They are starting with 0. 0 less than or is equal to 50 is true. And then sum is equal to, initially sum is 0 plus I is 0. The answer is 0. Next case, I becomes 0 plus 5. This is 5. Next, since it's a while loop, when we go back, 5 less than or is equal to 50 is true. Sum is equal to, already existing sum is 0. Now I is 5. It becomes 5. And then I becomes, I is equal to I plus 5. 5 plus 5, that is 10. When we go back, 10 less than or is equal to 50, which is true again. Sum becomes 5 plus 10, which is 15. Next, I becomes 15. In this way, what happens is I reaches to 50. 50 less than or is equal to 50, where the condition is again true, sum becomes already existing sum plus 50. In this way, if you observe, multiples of 5 gets added to the sum, and then finally the sum gets printed on the screen. So this is how we can substitute the missing statement with I is equal to I plus 5. Next, one more alternative here. Shantanu want to write a program to print the sum of first 7 multiples of 6. They want to find the sum of first 7 multiples of 6. Means what happens here is they have to find sum of 0 to 42 multiples. Means multiples of 6. Multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 36, like that. It has to go on every time. Now what happens here is we have to change the number every time with I is equal to I plus 6. Here also they have missed a term and they are asking what statement has to be modified here. Here integer I is equal to 0 is the first statement, and integer sum I less than or is equal to 42. Since it has to find the first 7 multiples of 6, 6 7s are 42 is the result. It has to repeat only until I becomes 42. And then sum is equal to sum plus I is the fourth statement. I is equal to I plus 6 is the statement 5, and then print sum is the sixth statement. Now the question is, does this program has an error? If yes, which statement would be modified to correct the program? If in the above logic, if there is an error, which statement has to be modified to get the correct output? The different options that were given are statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4. According to statement 1, integer I should be initialized to 0. So that's correct. Next, statement 2, integer sum. An integer variable was declared but it was not initialized to 0. In this case, what happens is a variable which is declared but not initialized will be having a garbage value. When we just declare sum, when it comes to this statement sum equal to sum plus I, what happens is the I value will be added to a garbage number. So this is the error in this program, and what has to be changed is statement 2 has to be changed, and it has to be replaced with integer sum is equal to 0. In this way, we have to modify the statement 2. Next, other case. Sharmila want to write a program to print the sum of all perfect cubes, where the value of the cubes go from 0 to 100. She writes the following program. And again, here also what was asked is, if there is any error in your program, what is the statement that has to be modified? Integer I is equal to 0, comma a. Integer sum is equal to 0. So those two statements will not have any errors because they were declared and initialized to 0 obviously. A is equal to I star I star I. It has to find the cubes. That's why it was made it as I star I star I. Next, while I less than 100. When it is less than 100, it does not go to 100. Next, sum is equal to sum plus A. A is the value of the cube. And then I is equal to I plus 1. A equal to I star I. So when we consider here, initially I value is 0. So A becomes 0. 0 less than 100, which is true, where sum is equal to, already sum is 0 plus 0, that is 0. Now I becomes 1, and A is equal to 1 cube gets calculated, which is 1. Next, 1 less than or is equal to 100 is true, where sum is equal to 0 plus 1 is calculated, that is 1, and then I is equal to 2 and A is equal to 2 cube, that is 8. In this case, what happens is I less than 100 is only present. It's not going to consider the 100 value. It was asked to print going from 0 to 100. Even 100 should also be considered. Does this program have an error? If yes, which one statement will be modified to correct the program? So the statements that were given, or statement options that were given, are statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4. So according to the logic that we have seen, while I less than 100 was written, it's not going to take into account I less than or equal to 100. 100 will not be considered. So statement 2 has to be modified to get the exact result according to the question given for us. Next, the other cases. Himanshu want to write a program to print the larger of two inputted numbers. He writes the following code. So here the task is they want to find biggest of two numbers which are given from the user. initially two numbers were declared and then input of number 1 comma number 2. We are taking both the numbers and then if question mark print number 1, else print number 2 and if. Now what we need to do is we have to fill in that question mark. What is the answer that has to be substituted in place of question mark. So when these type of questions were asked, what you need to do is it's better to write the logic for that and then you can replace the statement that has to be replaced in the question that was asked. We know the logic for finding biggest of two numbers is number 1 greater than number 2. If number 1 is greater than number 2, print number 1, else print number 2. Since we already written the logic here, in place of if, inside if we have to write number 1 greater than number 2. Let's see whether this option is present in the list of options given or not. The first option is number 1 greater than number 2, number 2 greater than number 1, number 2 equals number 1, number 1 less than or equal to number 2. So out of all these statements that were given, the suitable statement that we can write in place of question mark is number 1 greater than number 2 is the suitable answer. Next question. Rohit writes the program which inputs a number and prints double digit if the number is composed of 2 digits and not a 2 digit if it is not. Means Rohit has written a program which is going to print double digit if the number of digits in the given number is 2. Otherwise, it's going to print a message saying that not a 2-digit number. Now, according to this logic, int number, if number greater than 10 and number less than 100, number greater than 10 and number less than 100, it's not going to consider 10 and it's not going to consider 100. It's going to consider 11 to 99 only. Print double digit. If that is the case, it's going to print double digit. Else, print not a double digit. And if. Now the question that was asked is, Rohit tries the following inputs 5 and 66. The program works fine. Means he has given 5 as the inputs where 5 number greater than 10 is false. That's why it goes to else part and prints a message not a double digit. And 66 was input to the program where 66 greater than 10 is true and 66 less than 100 is also true, which has printed a double digit. So Rohit has got the correct answer. But the thing is, he has asked his brother Ravi to try the program. When Ravi enters a number, the program does not work correctly. When Ravi has given an input to this program and checked the output, it did not work properly. Now the question that was asked is, what is the number that was entered by Ravi as an input? Since we already discussed that the program is going to check if the numbers are between of 11 to 99, let's check with 10 as the input. 10 greater than 10 is false. If 10 was given as an input, it's going to print a message not a double digit number. So if the Ravi has given 8 greater than 10 is going to print a message as not a double digit, that's fine. 100 is going to print a message not a double digit, it's also going to work fine. 99, when it was given, it's going to print a message double digit, it's also going to work fine. Now let's check the last case, that is 10. 10 greater than 10 is false. That is, it's going to print it as a not a double digit. So Ravi has tried with the number 10, which has printed a message that it is not a double digit, which was not the correct outputs. So in this case, if the programmer might have asked you to change the program to work perfectly, we can change it by writing num greater than or equal to 10. Then 10 also will be considered so that the Ravi input 10 also gives the output as double digit. This is the other way of asking your question. Next, the other pattern is, Lavanya want to find the smallest out of 26 inputted numbers. Means there are 26 input numbers given to the program, out of which she has to find the smallest number. How many minimum iterations she has to make? How many number of comparisons she has to check to find a smallest number? So the minimum number of iterations, comparisons we need to do is 25. Because there are 26 numbers, we have to compare a single number with all other existing numbers. So if I have a number from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if I want to say A is small, I have to check A with all other values. If I have A, B, C, if I want to conclude A is the smallest, I need to compare with B as well as with C. If there are 3 numbers, I am doing 2 comparisons. In the same way, if there are 10 numbers, I do 9 comparisons. If there are 26 numbers, we do 25 comparisons. That's why the minimum number of comparisons that has to be done by Lavanya or 25. Next question. Vikram wants to write a program which checks whether the given number is divisible by any of the first 6 natural numbers excluding 1. He writes the following efficient code for it. He want to find whether the given number is divisible by the first 6 natural numbers or not, and he has written a program. This is the other way of asking your question, and he has written a code for it. Int number n is equal to 2, and he has taken a boolean variable which is going to have 0 or 1, where it is initialized to 0. Input number, the input number has to be taken while n less than or is equal to 6. If the input number is less than or equal to 6, then it has to check with all the first n natural numbers. That's why it's going to check with n less than or equal to 6. If remainder of number comma 6, number comma n double equal to 0. So what is this remainder is? It's going to find the remainder of n comma remainder number comma n. If the remainder is equal to 0, it's going to print a message is divisible is equal to 1. If it is not divisible, it's going to go for the other number and check, because it has to check for first 6 natural numbers. That's why n is equal to n plus 1 is going to be verified. So it's going to repeat for all the numbers. If I are given 7, 7 remainder with 2, 7 remainder with 3, 7 remainder with 4, like that it's going to evaluate for all the numbers. After coming out of the loop, it's going to check whether the is divisible value is equal to 1 or not. If it is equal to 1, meaning is that the number is divisible. If it is not equal, the number is not divisible. Now the other way of asking the question is, Vikram takes the program to Hari. He has taken this program to Hari, and Hari tells Vikram, though the code is correct, it can be made more efficient. Even the program that we have written is correct, it can be made more efficient. Now Hari modifies a single statement and makes the code more efficient. Now Hari has done a small modification to the program that was written by Vikram. Now the question that was asked is, which statement might have been modified by Hari to make this program more efficient? The different options that were given are, statement 1 is changed from while n less than or equal to 6 and is divisible is equal to 0. Why this was done is, if it is already divisible by 1, if it is already divisible, no need of going for the next case, but your logic has going to check for all the cases whether it is divisible with all the natural numbers or not. So this is one alternative. Next, statement 1 is changed to n less than or equal to 6 or is divisible is equal to 0. So any one is not correct. Statement 1 is changed to while is divisible double equal to 0. So is divisible double equal to 0 means we are not going to consider the value of n. It goes to infinite loop by checking all the numbers from 1 to infinite. Statement 2 is changed to n is equal to n plus 2. So n equal to n plus 2 is not going to check all the natural numbers, first 6 natural numbers. It's going to skip a number every time. So out of which the best option that we can choose is option 1, where statement 1 is changed to while n less than or equal to 6 and is divisible is equal to 0. If the value is not divisible only, we check for the other condition. If it is already divisible, no need of identifying the second alternative. The other question that is relevant to your pointers. Now, a pointer is used to store address of an variable. What is the output of the following code statement? The compiler saves the first integer at the memory location 4062. So here it was given that an address location is 4062. Integer is 1 byte long. Here integer is also written as 1 byte long. Integer a was declared, pointer b was declared, a is equal to 20 was initialized and b equal to address of a. So it was already stated that 4062 is the address location. So a is a variable and b is a pointer variable. The address of this one is 4062 and the value present in a is 20. And according to statement B equal to address of A, what is address of A is 4062. This 4062 is copied into B and it contains 4062. Now print star B. When I try to apply star operator on a pointer variable, it's going to get the value present at that address location. So star B is going to find star of 4062. Star of 4062 means the value present at the address location 4062 has to be retrieved. The value present at the address location 4062 is 20 is the answer for this logic. Next, the other way is, what is the output of the following code statements? The compiler saves the first integer at the memory location 4165 and the rest at the consecutive locations in the order of declaration. Integer is 1 byte long. So A is stored at 4165 and B is stored at 4166. Now, and then pointer C and D. There are two pointers C and D. C is 4167, 4168 is for D. A is equal to 30. The value of A was initialized to 30. C equal to address of A. So the value of C is initialized to the address of A, which is 4165. And then B is equal to star C. The value of B is equal to star of what is C is 4165, which is equivalent to star 4165 is the value present at 4165, that is 30. So the value present in B is also 30. Now A is equal to A plus 10. The value present at A is added with a new number, that is 10, and this 30 gets replaced with 40. And then print B. What's the output for B is 30, because the value that was stored in B is 30. Here we have changed the value of A. We have not changed the address. If I try to print star C, we are going to get 40, but B contains only 30. We need to be cautious here. When we update a value present at a variable, it does not change the reference where it is present. In this case, if you observe the program, what is the output of the following code statements? This compiler saves the first integer at the location 4165 and the rest at the consecutive memory space. Here integer A is at 4165 and then pointer C and then pointer D, and then A is equal to 30 was initialized to A and then C equal to address of A. So this 4165 is copied into C, because the address of A has to be copied into C, and then D equal to C. So D contains the value present in C, that is 4165. Now A is equal to A plus 10. So the value present in A gets modified with 40. So when the value gets modified with 40, if I try to print A, we are going to get 40, or if I try to print star C, we are going to get 40. Now the question that was asked is print star C, star of 4165. The value present in 4165 is 40. So here the value gets updated. In the previous case, the value is not updated. We are trying to print the value, but not the value present at the address. So we need to be cautious when we work with pointers. What is space complexity of a program? So the different options that were given are amount of hard disk space required to store the program, amount of hard disk space required to compile the program, amount of memory required by the program to run, amount of memory required with the program to compile. According to this, the amount of memory required with the program to run is treated as space complexity. Next, the other way of asking your question. Ravi and Rupali are asked to write a program to sum the rows of 2 by 2 matrices stored in the array A. Ravi writes the following code A as for n is equal to 0 to 1, sum row n is equal 1 of n is equal to a of n by 1 plus a of n by 2 and end. Rupali writes the same code as code B, where sum row 1 of 0, that is row 0 value is calculated as a of 0 1 plus a of 0 2. Sum of row 1 of 1 is equal to a of 1 1 plus a of 1 2. Now the question asked is, comment upon the codes. Assume no loop rolling upon down by the compile. The different options that were given are code A will execute faster than code B. Code A is going to execute faster than code B. Next, code B will execute faster than code A. Code A is logically incorrect. Code B is logically incorrect. So according to these statements that was given, the second option is suitable, because since there were no looping statements that were written, we did not to go back again and again to execute the values of I every time. So that's why code B will execute faster when compared with code A is the correct answer. Next, the other way is Srishti writes the code for a function that computes the factorial of the given number n. So he writes recursive factorial logic. So we already know the logic for recursive factorial. If n is equal to 1, it has to return 1, otherwise it has to return n into factorial of n minus 1. So according to the logic, function factorial of n, the n will be taken as an input. If n equals 1, return 1, else missing statement and then n. So the question that was asked is fill in the missing statement. So what can be replaced in missing statement has to be identified. Return factorial of n minus 1. So when we return factorial of n minus 1, the previous n will not be multiplied for that. Return n into factorial of n, the same number will be multiplied with the same factorial. Next, return n into n minus 1, just it finds the next number, that's all, it's not going to find the factorial of the number. Return n into factorial of n minus 1 will be the suitable answer, where if I consider 5 factorial, 5 into factorial of 4 gets calculated. To find this, factorial of 4 calculates and then 4 star factorial of 3 gets calculated. So this is the suitable answer for this program. Next, Anuj writes the code for a function that takes input n and calculates the sum of first n natural numbers. The function that was written is sum of n. If question mark return 1, else return n plus sum of n minus 1 and then n. So what is the question that was asked is fill question mark in the code. If n equals 1, then it has to return 1 is the first option. N equals 2, it has to return 1. N greater than or equal to 1, n greater than 1. So the suitable answer that can be written here is n equals 1, because if n is equal to 1, we did not to find the sum of previous number, because if the already existing number will be 1. That's why n equals to 1 will be the suitable answer. If I substitute n equals 2, we are not going to add 1 to the answer. So that's why it's better to substitute n equals 1 in place of that question mark. Next, the other way of asking your question is, consider the following function. Calculate n, where n will be supplied from the user. If n equals 5, return 5, else return n plus calculate of n minus 5. Sheshar calls the function by the statement calculate of 20. What will the function return? So calculate of 20. So when this function is called, if 20 equals 5 is not correct, else it's going to return 20 plus calculate of 20 minus 5, that is 15. So in order to calculate this, we require calculate of 15. So calculate of 15 is, since the condition fails, it goes to else part, 15 plus calculate of 10. This has to be calculated, which is calculate of 10, where it goes to the else part again and prints 10 plus calculate of 5. In this case, calculate of 5 will be called again, where calculate of 5 will be, so here in this case, if 5 equals 5, return 5. So this 5 is written to the statement, which is 10 plus 55 as the answer, that is 15. This calculate of 10 is called by calculate of 15, where 15 plus 15, that is 30 will be calculated, where this calculate of 15 is called by calculate of 20, where the answer for this is 30. 20 plus 30 becomes 50. So the suitable answer for this is 50 is the answer. Next, what does the compiler do? So the different options given are converts code from a high level language to a low level language, necessarily converts the code into assembly language, converts code from a low level language to a high level language, necessarily converts the code into machine language. So the suitable answer according to this is a compiler is going to convert a high level language program into a low level language program. Next, a program is compiled by Tarun on his machine. He has compiled a program on his machine. Whether it will run on a different computer it depends upon what are the cases it depends upon. The different cases are: option 1, operating system on the computer. It depends on the operating system of the computer. Second one is hardware configuration of the computer. Third one is both operating system and hardware configuration, the language of the program. So there are the situations are when a program was written in one machine and when it has to be run on other machine, the operating system might change and the hardware configuration also might change. So it depends upon both operating system and the hardware configuration of the system that Tarun is going to consider. So both are going to affect your program execution. Thank you.